Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And what we have here is actually rather a sad story. It's a life destroyed because of identity politics. A young man pushed down a line from which there is no return. His life has been completely destroyed because of people pushing an agenda. People saying, you must do this, you must do this. And him being herded by the trans lobby into irreversible, body-destroying surgery. And it turns out that that was not what was needed. He was probably just a young gay lad. But that isn't enough. And they needed to turn him into a trans post-op and destroy him, destroy his future, and sterilise him, as they do, on a mass scale. These evil people should stop pushing children and playing and using children as the shock troops in their campaign of degeneracy. Now I'm going to take a look at this story, and I genuinely feel sorry for him because he has now got the most awful regrets, and it's quite right. And the trouble is, he's not alone. There are thousands upon thousands of people pushed into this who then regret, and they detransition, but of course by then it's all rather far too late, and their bodies are destroyed, their futures are destroyed, and any chance they ever have of becoming fathers have gone up in smoke. Here goes. So, detransitioner bitterly regrets having testicles removed after struggling with being gay. And this is the thing. They are pushing young gay men down. They go, oh, and it's often parents who don't want a gay son. They'd rather have a trans son than a gay child, because for some reason it is better to utterly destroy the body of your child than it is to accept that he is attracted to people whom you don't think is right. It's a weird way of doing it, isn't it? A detransitioner bitterly regrets this. So, a young man, known only as Kobe, has revealed how he bitterly regrets going through reconstructive surgery and things like that. Kobe told Fox News that older trans people told him to play the self-ending tactics in order to be granted a transition. At the age of 13, after being indoctrinated. In other words, these people are coming in and they're preying on children. They're grooming them. Remember that trans people are 10 times more likely to commit sexual offences according to the government's own figures. And so therefore, you must be very aware when they are getting hold of your child. They are dangerous, and this is why. After turning on his decision, Kobe is now taking testosterone and regrets his decision to have his testicles removed. Of course he does. Absolutely, of course he does. Because what is he now? He'll never have any meaningful relationships, either as a straight man or as a gay man. He just won't have that. He won't achieve the things he needs to achieve. He's finished. His life is destroyed because of these evil, degenerate people who push this on children at every available opportunity. And that is why it needs to be kept out of schools. And yet you wonder, because teachers are pushing this at schools as well. They're pushing these children into these things. They're doing all these things, but they're not being fully psychiatrically assessed, because no one is born into the wrong body. They merely have mental conditions, and you need to address the mental condition, because changing your body will not change what's up here. Anyway, a young man who formerly identified as a trans woman after being castrated by his doctors has warned others not to follow in his footsteps. The young man, known only as Kobe, has revealed how he bitterly regrets his decision to transition and was told to play the self-ending card by older trans people in order to receive the treatment. He began puberty blockers at 13, had his testicles removed at 19, and now suffers from severe spinal pain he fears could be osteoporosis, which is linked with the puberty blockers, because this has been linked to bone problems. Speaking to Fox News, he detailed how, despite his thoughts of being trans, he now realises he was merely an effeminate gay boy who enjoyed playing with Barbies, but who felt uncomfortable with his sexuality. He's a teen, he's a young teen, going through all the changes of puberty. The hormones are up but down. He's got all that thing. He's trying to grow physically, emotionally, spiritually, all at the same time. It's a car crash inside the body as he transitions from childhood to manhood. So of course things are confusing. He'd realised this, that and the other about himself. The trouble he's got, of course, is that he may have forceful parents or religious rights, things like that. He's going to have people saying, oh no, it's easier if you become a woman rather than becoming gay, you know, and all that. And they're pushing on these children. They should be standing well away from the children. The people pushing this are quite simply evil. They have destroyed this man's life. Kobe also told the outlet that had he not been indoctrinated to gender ideology, he would probably have stayed as such, i.e. he'd have grown up and he'd just become a gay man, an effeminate gay man. He said, I was always an effeminate boy. I was very feminine growing up. I liked Barbies. I liked pink. And that's fine. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your sexuality. They care when they start hacking bits off you, destroying your life, sterilizing children on an industrial scale. It needs to be made illegal. Kobe continued, if I was never indoctrinated, I think I would have just stayed an effeminate boy. I saw it as a way out of my homosexuality. At the age of 11, he said, he told his parents that he was transgender, which was quickly rebuffed. It wasn't until a few years later, at the age of 13, that Kobe again came out as transgender and said that he used the self-ending tactics to transition. He said, I started using the self-ending tactics, transition or death. It is such an unhealthy mindset. And of course, he's being groomed into this by older trans. Older men who pretend to be women are pushing young boys to get them to trans. I wonder why. Why are these older men doing with these children? We all know these people predominantly are sexual predators. From there on, the older trans people teach us to say that stuff in order to get the healthcare and everything, he said. From there, he was placed on puberty blockers and then estrogen at the age of 16, before later having a castration at the age of 19. Despite all of this, Kobe said that he did nothing. It did nothing to help with his mental health and wasted time. Of course it is, because the problem is in here. It's not here. Your body works. It's the mind that is screwed. Kobe continued, I was like, oh wow, this is so great. I'm locked in my transition. But then everything started to crack and I couldn't ignore the complications. I couldn't ignore that I had mutilated myself, pretty much with the permission of a psychiatrist. It's insane now. Looking back, it's just self-harm, you know. He now also suffers from permanently stunted growth because of the puberty blockers, and also suffers from chronic pain in his spine, and is to be checked for osteoporosis. He's appeared on Fox News, and he's also appeared in the podcast of Benjamin Boyce to talk of his decision. And you've got to say it is an utter destruction of a life because of the gender identities, the gender politics of inadequate men who want to become and pretend to be women, and now they're forcing this onto children that aren't their children. They shouldn't be forced on anyone. They are groomers. They are dangerous and they are degenerate. And I feel so sorry for this man that he's done this to himself. He's utterly destroyed himself. I mean, there he is. He's a young man and he still looks like a child because of the grooming. They've groomed a grown adult to look like a child. It is sad, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to stop there and come up. I think we have to start calling this out for what it undoubtedly is. It is abuse. It is grooming. It is evil, unethical, immoral, and degenerate. These people that push this onto children need to be arrested, charged, tried, and imprisoned for a long time for the harm they do. The destruction of a life, not the ending of it, of course. Just the complete destruction. These kids have to grow up and live the next 60, 70, 80 years knowing they've made a terrible mistake because a pervert or a degenerate piece of filth has somehow managed to inveigle themselves into his mind and force him to do the most appalling things to his body. And that is a crime against humanity. I can get angry, so I'm going to stop. Thank you very much for listening. We do feel sorry for him, so it is there. I've got to be honest. But thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, you cannot trust anyone with your children. Bye.